Alright, I made it to Hillary Depot, and now I'm about to embark towards the Sagittarius spur. So, journey so far started at the bubble, worked my way up here, and then cut across to Hillary Depot. Now, I am going to be crossing the gap between the Orion and Sagittarius spurs. Funny enough, I am Sagittarius. Uh, and then we're going to end at Lagoon Nebula, which should be pretty. And it's kind of a beacon I can keep heading towards. Alright.
Clusters online.
Ship released. Make way for oncoming traffic.
I don't need night vision. I think I can just wing it.
Landing gear retracted.
I love how, as you travel towards the center, the background changes so much. And you don't realize how used to the background of the bubble you are until you leave it. And it's completely different.
Flight path is clear. Flight control signing off.
Alright, what do we got? High metal. Ooh. Like there might be some good stuff here. Let's take it forever. Oh, I can zoom out more. Yep, I'm missing.
System scan complete.
All right. I love, you can see the nebulas back there. One of those is probably the one I'm going to. I think it's the one to the right. Alright, let's get those mapped out, and then I want to see what those three nebulae are called.
System scan complete.
A lot like Jupiter. One, two, three. Center being the smallest. That is the center one. The Trikai. The Cat's Paw, which will probably be the stop I make after Laguna. think I might have been the first person to discover that. Nope, I'm not special.
System scan complete.
Oh, one of the nice things about making stops, like at Hillary Station, is that you can turn in your cartography data, and I was able to get quite a bit of faction increase with them just by turning it in and donating some money. So by the time I get to Colonia, I should at least have 2 or 3 factions maxed out, so I'll be able to get the good missions from them. It's just 3. I should get them. It's weird. My worry on this trip is that there might be a series of stars that have quite a bit of distance between them that aren't scoopable. So I have to make sure that I stay full up.
System scan complete.
Kenobi the wizard. I'll let those guys keep the glory on this one. Did not know that hotkey existed. Alright.
Heatsink deployed. System scan complete.
I want to try to find a podcast about space. That'd be cool. What? Oh, cool.
Hull integrity compromised.
Oh, I don't want to listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm thinking like fiction. I just smacked a star talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson. I was thinking earlier, they name stations after famous people, like famous scientists, famous important historians. I looked it up today. They don't have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg station, and I'm going to request it. Yeah, I think that they would do that. The company's European, but I think they understand the significance, and they have a lot of American figures as stations. She's humanity associated. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. To Blathe.
System scan complete.
Hoping to find a system nobody's seen soon.
System scan complete.
rock ice. I'm gonna pass. Well, there's only 8.
System scan complete.
You know what? I'm gonna have a wild hair and scan every planet in the system.
Surface scan by 50%. Surface scan complete.
Galactic Mysteries, the NMLA. Private investigators Eric Gunnarsson and Francesca Wolf review the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army. Gunnarsson: we don't usually get involved with political cases, but it's hard to ignore the largest terrorist attack in history. The NMLA is a radical offshoot of Marlinism, a democratic movement named after the Republic of Akanar's original ruler, Marlin de Val. Most are peaceful protester types, but neo-Marlinists want to overthrow the government by permanently removing the imperial family. What nobody knows is how the NMLA went from minor troublemakers to interstellar terrorists. The starport bombings last September came from nowhere, and their assassins have killed many imperial bigwigs including Prince Harold de Val. Smart money was on them being funded by Empire's enemies, but now the NMLA treat the Alliance and Federation as equal targets. Hitting all three superpower capitals was a hugely symbolic gesture, and should have been impossible. How did they bypass security and plant explosives without detection? Who the hell are these people? Even Wallglass doesn't have a clue. But we won't stop searching. Wolf. Despite my inquiries, and some unauthorized snooping, there's no trace of the rumored NMLA bomb factory in LTT-1935. But it did once exist, because the Empire captured its occupants. Not that they'll admit it. There is no such place as Serene Harbor, right? Well, I've been to RCRA Sector AFAD-423B and seen it myself. It's bleak. Hope-crushing. And yet the NMLA
I think
prisoners
they'd
listed
rename
as
it at
Theta
some
Group
point.
escaped, broken out by what seems like Imperial intelligence
Just the
double
crazy long
agents.
names.
That genuinely scares me. If the NMLA can worm inside the most shadowy security organization in known space, they could be anywhere. And none of us are safe.
None of
Medical
us are
supplies
ever
needed
safe.
for starport bombing survivors.
I'm listening to
Pilots
the
Federation alert.
elite radio thing.
Safeguard Interstellar
Yeah.
requires deliveries of medicines to treat casualties from the NMLA's recent terrorist attack. The humanitarian aid organization is helping to coordinate relief efforts for the starports in the Alliance, Empire and Federation that were bombed last week. CEO Noel Beaumont announced. Hundreds of thousands of civilians still require urgent
Surface scan by 50%.
medical attention after being evacuated from the damaged stations. Many have severe caustic burns inflicted by the corrosive enzyme payload of the explosives. We have already exhausted the majority of supplies in nearby systems. To reinforce overstretched health services, we request shipments of basic medicines and advanced medicines. These can be delivered to 3 starports being used as staging areas. Krylov Ring in the Hebo system, Mackenzie Relay in the Samir system,
Surface scan complete.
and Davis Terminal in the Duanta system. Safeguard Interstellar has partnered with 3 local factions, Paris Ring Brewery, Lavigny's Legion, and the Duanta Gold Creative Corp, to reward pilots and distribute the medicines within each superpower. Pilots can provide further help by directly delivering repair materials to damaged starports in the Akanar, Alioth, Eotiensis, Gateway, Kamadhenu, Lathe, Nanomum, and Rhea systems. Li Qingjiao Station in the Seoul system remains an active disaster zone, with civilians still Anti-NMLA intelligence. superpowers respond to Nine Martyrs' attack. Political fallout has been intense after the NMLA simultaneously bombed 9 starports in the Alliance, Empire and Federation. The targeted stations are in the Akanar, Alioth, Eotiensis, Gateway, Kamathenyu, Lathe, Nanomum, Rhea and Sol systems. These were referred to by NMLA propaganda as the Nine Martyrs, a reference to the attack against Kepler orbital last November. All 3 superpowers are treating this as a major emergency. Top-level discussions have taken place between their chiefs of security, using communication protocols recently established at the Galactic Summit. However, mainstream media has also reported on internal political tensions. The Imperial Herald, Senator Patrias proposed that all known Marlinists be arrested immediately as NMLA collaborators. He received a direct rebuke from Chancellor Blaine, who said, "Her Majesty views your blunt tactics as having been counterproductive and requires more creative solutions." The Federal Times, President Hudson opened Congress with a minute's silence to honor VP Brad Mitchell and other deceased cabinet members. He then directly blamed Shadow President Winters for their deaths, claiming, "You invited terrorists with your virtue signaling aid program for fake refugees." The Alliance Tribune, the Assembly broadly welcomed Prime Minister Mahone's call for unity against the NMLA and praised his efforts on the Sirius Treaty despite it remaining unsigned. But there was also support for Councillor Kane's viewpoint. Our entry fee for the Galactic Summit was hundreds of thousands of lives. Starport bombing casualties include Federal Vice President Brad Mitchell and a number of federal cabinet members have been killed in a recent terrorist attack on a starport orbiting Earth. The NMLA planted caustic enzyme explosives at Li Qingjiao Station, where a government meeting was taking place. The VP and cabinet members were confirmed to be among tens of thousands of casualties. 8 other starports across all 3 superpowers were simultaneously bombed. President Zachary Hudson, who was attending the Galactic Summit during the attack, made this statement: "This atrocity is nothing less than a declaration of war, and we will respond accordingly. For now, we mourn the loss of my close friend Brad Mitchell and other heroes of the Federation. I will personally appoint replacements to their positions soon." The Federation has directly accused the Empire of being responsible by allowing neo-Marlinist bomb makers to escape from a secret prison facility. The Imperial Senate reiterated that Serene Harbor does not exist and is part of a Galactic Summit cancelled. Galactic Mysteries. The Adamastor. Eric Gunnarsson and Francesca Wolf, 2 detectives from the Wall Glass Investigations Agency, examine the background of the Adamastor megaship. Gunnarsson: "When Wolf and I started this project, we knew this case would come first. We're both protégés of Benjamin Chester, creator of the Wall Glass Archive. He retired years ago, but that old spark kicked in when a ghost ship turned up on his doorstep. The Adamastor is a 200-year-old derelict that drifted into the Chukchan system on autopilot. It's still there, with the Alliance Salvage Guild poking through its guts. Chester investigated its owners, a super-secretive company called Azimuth Biochemicals. We don't know what they were searching for, but what they found was possibly the first recorded Thargoid encounter. I've since tracked down evidence that the Adamastor had a sister ship, the Hesperus, which in 3113 was sent to somewhere. Neither ship returned, but we only know what happened on the Adamastor mission. Of course, Wolf had to go see that with her own eyes. Wolf.
Surface scan by 50%.
Muscadark Region PJPB61 is a busy system nowadays, but was unexplored when Professor Carver's survey
Surface scan complete.
team were there. Listening to their logs from 2 centuries ago while examining the research base was chilling. Ghost voices from a ghost ship. There was evidence of blast scars, but I've seen enough battlefields to know what exchanged gunfire looks like. Azimuth's mercenaries weren't just firing at Thargoids, but at someone who shot back with laser rifles. Gunnarsson tells me Azimuth was swallowed up by a rival called Pharma Sapien. Did they infiltrate the Adamastor and try to take over? Or did the thing that Carver captured drive everyone insane? This is a seriously cold case, even for us. But maybe one day, more tantalizing clues will emerge. And that's what we live for. Thargoid conflict discussed at the Galactic Summit. Potential solutions to the threat posed by the Thargoid race are being debated at the diplomatic conference in the Sirius system. Political correspondent Conrad Sterling reported for Vox Galactica. As always, the topic of the Thargoids brings division. The Alliance delegation has portrayed the aliens as a universal danger, while the Empire and Federation took a more balanced view. Professor Albert Tesro's plea to increase support for Aegis was well received, but many delegates argued that further anti-Xeno breakthroughs were needed to justify additional funding. To this end, Aegis will undertake new research into the Guardians, hoping to discover a technological advantage from that ancient species. Prime Minister Mahone's proposal for strategic cooperation against the Thargoids, known as the Sirius Treaty, is now being examined in detail. Supporters view it as a logical progression from the recently agreed Cornelius-Lasky Convention. There was minor uproar when Archon Delane agreed to be a signatory. Coupled with similar commitments from the Marlinist colonies and other independents, this has brought pressure upon the Empire and Federation to follow suit. If ratified, the Sirius Treaty could be the crowning achievement of the conference. However, putting it into practice will require a huge influx of resources. Decisions are expected before the end of this week. The Declaration of Archon Delane. At the Galactic Summit, the infamous pirate leader Archon Delane has demanded to be accepted as the legitimate leader of a political power. A gap in the schedule allowed him to make an address in the main conference chamber. Most of you see me as a common criminal, rather than the rightful ruler of multiple systems. That must end now. My efforts to build a Kumo nation deserve respect. I am here to declare my sovereignty and take my rightful place on the political stage. This was immediately dismissed by many delegations. Princess Aisling Duval said this was a barbaric mockery of nobility, while Shadow President Winters asked how much bloodshed the pirates had caused to obtain their power. Archon Delane replied, "Are you also innocent then? Every civilization begins with barbarism, and maintains authority with the threat of violence. None of you can say otherwise. We all wear a crown of bones." There followed intense debate as to whether the Kumo cruise territory could be recognized as a new nation-state or was simply a rebranded crime syndicate. There is suspicion that some of the many criminal vessels
Surface scan by 50%.
detected in the Sirius system are from Delane's pirate fleet. The Federal and Imperial
Surface scan complete.
delegations have offered to remove Archon Delane's retinue, only to be reminded that Sirius Corporation has granted them full diplomatic immunity. Jupiter Rochester sentenced to life imprisonment. Former Core Dynamics CEO Jupiter Rochester has received a summary judgment for multiple crimes against the Federation. The Federal Justice Department gave this statement. The facts in the case of Jupiter Rochester are self-evident. His principal role regarding Starship One and Jupiter Division make him guilty of treason, mass murder and many other crimes. He will serve a solitary life sentence in a maximum security prison. Melendu Aukoror of the Federal Attorney's Office expressed surprise. It is highly unusual for the FJD not to litigate such a major case, considering we don't know the full extent of Rochester and Fleet Admiral Vincent's conspiracies. Unfortunately, our request to open a full investigation has been denied. Shadow Vice President Isolde Rochester has reiterated that her family were not involved with her eldest son's clandestine activities. Core Dynamics is continuing to rebuild after several departments separated to form Jupiter Division. Owen McKenna, the new CEO, has vowed to purge the company of all his predecessors' loyalists. Despite Rochester's failure to build a power base in the HIP 54530 system, his manifesto of placing the Federation under direct corporate rule has received praise in some regions. A corporatist movement, founded by commercial networks and civil groups, is gradually gaining popularity. Defense and delivery requests for the Sirius system. Pilots Federation alert. The Empire is aiding Sirius Corporation by offering bounty hunting and trade opportunities to support the Galactic
Surface scan by 50%.
Summit. The diplomatic conference is now entering its second week, with superpower and independent leaders gathered at Patterson Enterprise in the Sirius system. Sirius Corporation's CEO Li Yongrui announced, "Our thanks to the Federation for organizing additional security against unexpected numbers of vessels this past week. Anarchic extremists, political enemies and
Surface scan complete.
opportunistic criminals all attempted to disrupt the conference to no avail. Pilots who helped maintain the peace can collect their rewards at the Spirit of Laylaps. For the coming week, we are working with the Empire to maintain the security operation by offering bounties on all wanted ships. The Empire will also pay generously for extra supplies of animal meat, coffee, fish, fruit and vegetables, and wine that are delivered to the Spirit of Laylaps. Pilots are reminded that neither permanent nor temporary permits to enter the Sirius system apply to fleet carriers. This joint initiative will run for 1 week, followed by Sirius Corporation partnering with the Alliance for the final week of the Galactic Summit. In related news, Core Dynamics, Gutermeyer and Lacon Spaceways are continuing to offer a 10% discount on all their ships to mark the historic occasion. Archon Delane gate crashes the Galactic Summit. Pirate warlord Archon Delane has unexpectedly appeared at the diplomatic conference and demanded to participate as a political delegate. Delane is the leader of the Kumo Crew, a notorious crime syndicate that controls dozens of systems. Their arrival at Patterson Enterprise
Surface scan by 50%. Surface scan complete. Surface scan by 50%. Surface scan complete. System scan complete.
Gotten. I love it. Sure. Alright, folks, I'm gonna call it for now. Till next time.